Turn off your phone, close the door, put on headphones, get your notebooks out. We are going to write. Welcome back to the Virtual Writing Academy. Today we're going to do a very colorful exercise. We are going to work on dialogue without actually writing dialogue. Are you interested? Then stick around. We have a fun session today. Before we begin though, for those of you joining in for the first time, this is the way class is going to work. I will give you a timed writing exercise. I will shut up, put on some music, and you will write. Once we're done with today's exercise, we will meet again and talk about our experiences. Today we will begin with a rather strange exercise, but I want you to follow along. It will all make sense in due time, okay? It would not be fun if I just told you what you're supposed to take from this. No. The best learning is done by doing. So, go grab your notebook or open up your writing software of choice. You can minimize this video if you want. I will tell you when to bring it back up. In the meantime, I will put on some music. Something a little emotional. Are you ready? As always, before we begin, I want to remind you that you are allowed to use your own characters for this exercise. You are free to change the setting and the characters to fit whatever you're working on at the moment. Whatever it is you need to get writing is fine by me. Now, let's dive right in. Tears and silence. You will have 10 minutes to write in third person from the perspective of a young character. You will explore their feelings, their expressions, and their gestures as they stand before the resting place of someone who meant the world to them. The catch? This character is so broken by their loss that they have no words left to speak. Again, you will have 10 minutes to write in third person about a young character standing before a grave. Step outside of the character's head. Focus on their body, their gestures, their face, their movements. This character does not have the courage to speak anymore, and thus we cannot hear their cries. Even their thoughts are silent. Instead, show us their grief. Become the camera in the cinema of our imagination. Show us the tears in their eyes. Show us the sadness that has broken them. Show us the grief that is killing them. Take us to a moment where there is nothing but sadness and silence. Take us there, teller of stories. The time to write starts. Actually, let me give you a hand. I will give you half of the first sentence. This story begins like this. She looked like she had 100 things to say, but... Now go, brave teller of stories. Remember that a single spark, no matter how tiny, is all it takes to start a wildfire. 60 seconds remaining. Alright, time's up, pencils down, fingers off the keyboard. If you minimized the video, bring it back up. Let's take a deep breath. People ask me, what is your biggest nitpick in writing? Well, the answer to that is black and white morality in storytelling, though that is not the subject of this video. My second biggest nitpick is actually lack of description in storytelling, particularly lack of description around character dialogue and actions. Nothing turns me off a book like blocks of tagless dialogue without any sort of direction on what I, the reader, should be seeing. Now, I understand that some writers believe it is not their job to hold the reader's hands. Though, I believe there are degrees of description, and it is not a binary state where you either describe everything in ridiculous detail or don't describe anything. As with anything in life, balance is important. The exercise you worked on today forced you to stay away from dialogue. I forced you to write in third person so that even inner dialogue would be limited. I put you in a situation where you had to describe this character's grief without resorting to talking. You became the camera, recording and projecting the performance of your actors. Now, imagine if the character you wrote about had instead monologued about their sadness. Imagine if they would have instead just talked about how they felt, instead of showing us how they felt. Sometimes, I think that silence and emotions and descriptions can be the most effective way to bring the reader in. A little color like this can make your dialogue bloom. Think of it like that, actually. Consider description to be the color in the canvas of your story. Sometimes you may need a lot of color to attract the eyes of the reader, and at other times you may only need a few drops of color to create contrast. Like a painting needs color, your dialogue needs description. I mean, otherwise you're just writing a screenplay. I hope this helps. If you ever want to experience this exercise again, you know where to find it. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like and subscribe if you want more. Also, if you want your daily dose of writing advice and prompts, you should head over to my blog. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.